Ladies and gentlemen, um, welcome back to Somos Moss.
Come on, sad. Don't sound so sad.
Uh, we certainly did not expect to be here tonight. Um,
Well,
and
we kind
yeah,
of thought this might happen.
we did. I don't think we expected it to happen 12 hours after we talked about it.
No, definitely not that soon. But here we are.
Yeah. So here we are indeed. If you're with us last night, we talked about the possibility that Coach Quill might be heading on, and we talked about you being uncertain about the future of things since FC Dallas had not announced the results of their head coaching search. Um, we've talked about it over the past couple of weeks. We've mentioned in the past, that there have been rumblings, and sometimes where there's smoke, there is fire. Um, then this morning, Dallas Morning News and Tom Bogert broke the news that FC Dallas had named Eric Quill as the ninth head coach in club history. Shortly thereafter, New Mexico United confirmed it and had their own announcement shortly after 9:30 Mountain Time this morning. Coach Eric Quill, new head coach of FC Dallas. United in their release did confirm that FC Dallas and the Mexico United had negotiated a buyout of the next 2 years of coach's contract. Now, obviously, terms of that deal are not disclosed. But I mean, this is we had a feeling it might happen. We knew that something was going to happen, that there was going to be some sort of compensation paid to the club. In the event of it happening. I don't know. I mean, I get it. Historic season for United, first place in the West, and FC Dallas has been looking. They've been looking for some time. And again, we talked about it last night. This was going to be the place if he was to leave. I mean, initial reactions to not only the news break from Dallas, but also United then confirming that the Quill ball era is over.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I've strangely been in a pretty jolly mood still. I don't know if I had just like come to terms with it happening, or at least the possibility of it happening before. Even though I'm definitely upset and sad, and was excited for next year and what Quill could be or could bring, or what Quill could do in his second full year at the helm. But I mean, he played for them. He coached North Texas. He's from the area. I don't know how we don't let him come back, and so, or how we don't keep him from going, or how we keep him from going over there. It sucks. As soon as you sent the text in the group chat, it was like, well, shit, okay. But then you kind of just, I think I went through all the emotions, like the 7 stages of grief, like right away. Like within like 5 seconds of getting that, or 5 minutes of getting that text, it was like, no, it can't be happening. Damn it, it's Tom Bogert. He's always fucking right. This fucking sucks. To, well, he probably is going to be happy over there, blah, blah. And then it just snowballs from there. And so it is what it is. I don't know. I'm assuming that's why you're somber, but I have faith in the club to find another Quill, basically, and bring back some guys and try to do it again with a different voice.
Well, so now this begs the question. Obviously, there was smoke last year, right? There is smoke at the end of the season last year with how last year ended. We knew there were the possibility of this happening this year, particularly with the run that we were on. You knew he'd been mentioned earlier in the season after FC Dallas announced, their coaching change.
Mhm.
And so we all kind of held out hope then that it was going to at least wait until end of the season, right? When we after the playoff loss to Las Vegas, Coach put out a tweet, and a lot of people started reading in between the lines of that. We talked about it on the show.
So I feel pretty confident after having some conversations with some people, both with our club and covering FC Dallas, that that tweet at the time that tweet was put out, he did not know if he was going to be going to FC Dallas or not. And so I still stand by that tweet not meaning too much. He probably knew he was a candidate, but it was not a done deal. I don't think it was a done deal. I'm not even 100% sure it was a done deal this morning. And then Tom Boger got the scoop and pushed the news along.
Well, to be fair, the article from a third D or third down or whatever the name of the other website
Third
is,
degree.
Third Degree, they said that he'd been a finalist, but they were waiting until the end of United's season.
Mhm.
So I think at that point, he was well aware. I'm fairly certain he had interviewed at that point. I'm fairly certain the club gave him, the permission to interview. But I think this was decided probably over the weekend. I think everyone knew ahead of this morning.
I will tell you right now, Seth, I talked to somebody with our club, and I don't think that was the case. And so take that for what it is. But I truly don't believe that was the case.
I think I might have talked to different people, but
maybe. And I didn't get a definitive answer. I'm just using context clues from the conversation that I had. And so I don't know. We could talk about that offline.
It's definitely. I think the club. I don't think the club found out this morning. I think they found out probably yesterday.
Yeah.
So the club at least had some sort of leeway and some sort of lead time on this. And a question that came up in our chat and something we'll get to here in just a second. Well, I guess we'll just jump right into it. What happens now with Quill leaving? We know that he was very high on some of these guys that he brought in. Do you think he takes anyone with him?
No, I don't.
Okay.
The ones that I think he would consider are, I don't think, quite at the level of MLS right now, especially with FC Dallas and their academy system and everything like that. I think I just don't see that happening. And then, the one player that I could see both physically and skill level being up there, I think Quill had a pretty hard time with because of some bonehead mistakes that he made, and that, of course, is Nanahosu. And so I don't think he does. I think we'll be hearing on some news about people coming back pretty soon, and then today alone we saw Sacramento and San Antonio put out their initial roster moves. We've seen a couple teams already do that. We've seen a new signing from Tulsa, and so I think we'll be seeing some kind of news on some retaining some players and stuff soon. Maybe this week, maybe early next week, and then we'll go from there. That doesn't mean we can't transfer some of those people out if Quill does want to take them. But who would Quill take?
Zico, maybe Nanan, Talon. I mean, there's a few names that I could possibly see, but
I see the Talon and the Zico and then the Nanan for sure. I love Talon to death. I think he'd rather stay here and get playing time than follow Quill and either be with North Texas or just not play. Nanan, I think, had too many boneheaded mistakes for Quill to want to take him. And Zico, I love Zico to death. Very few players contribute at a higher level being the size that Zico is, which sucks because Zico is a super talented guy, but I just don't see that happening. Maybe I'm wrong, and I would love to see that, but I don't know. Those. You're right though. Those are the three that I came to my mind too. Maybe Herbert as well.
Fair enough. So we talked about Jacobo Reyes post on Instagram today. Do you think this might have something to do with that? Or his post on Instagram was him saying adios to Coach and not just like a farewell to the team?
No, I think he's leaving the team.
Okay.
I don't think he'll be back. I don't think him not coming back and Coach leaving are necessarily related.
Mm-hmm.
I know Quill's the one that brought Jacobo in halfway through last season, but I don't think he's going to follow him. Maybe he goes to North Texas. I don't know, but I don't think he's. I can almost guarantee he's not going to FC Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I don't know. Okay. I don't think Reyes was on a loan, was he?
Not that I'm aware of. I'd have to double check that, but I don't think he was. Does the departure of Quill change your outlook? Now, I know yesterday you said that you felt like we bring back a good core of players. Does this change that outlook at all? Do you think whoever we bring in does a bigger overhaul than what you had initially anticipated? Or do you think we still try to or do you think Itamar and the front office have more of a say in it currently, until someone comes in and is like, hey, this is what we're bringing in?
This is where us not knowing the contract situation of guys already on the team comes into play, because we've seen with the teams that have already announced their initial roster moves, we've seen it with United in the past. A lot of these guys have a second year option that we can pick up or let go. My understanding is those options have to be picked up within a certain amount of time. From my understanding is the head coach search just now started basically. And so my guess is the guys that are at least on that contract with the option for the second year or third year or whatever it is, those decisions will have to be made before a new coach is brought in. And so we will see, I think, a handful of guys. It kind of like we saw Sacramento bring back 14, I think, and San Antonio bring back 7. I think we probably see on the lower end of that, so 10 to 7, before a coach move is made. We can't. I don't think they'll rush the coaching hire necessarily. I think they'll do their due diligence. They'll find the right candidate. And since they won't be rushing it, I think they'll have to make decisions on guys before then. And I think Flanagan and Akale, Bruce, I think, is already coming back.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would be very surprised if Bruce did not come back.
Brucey has told us on this podcast in the past that he is not playing anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so
quickly about Jacobo, he was on loan last year. He was on loan for the 2023 season, and then we brought him on an official contract as of January 1 of 2024. So he is not currently on loan with us.
So
can't hear you now. Jacob's going to figure out his stuff here real quick. But yeah, I would be willing to bet you see Brucey back. If Akale is gone, I would be surprised. I do like him. I think Akale is talented enough to be picked up by to certainly garnered interest by other teams. So there's certainly some options out there. I'd like to see AO back. But you never know, especially with a change in coach. You don't know what they're going to want to do. You don't know, what's going on. So, So I can tell you right now, according to Transfer Market, we have 3 players under contract for 2020 or for the 2025 season. So so maybe not. All right. So Marlon Vargas, his loan ends at the end of the year. Yeah, there you go. Apparently Derek Lozano is listed as being on contract, but that's through the academy. And then Jermaine Forda is still listed as being on the roster. I don't see that being a thing. So yeah, Transfer Market has 3 guys listed, but I don't think that's the case. Yeah, because Forda was brought in on the emergency contract. So yeah, I don't know. I think I do think we see a lot of changes this offseason. But we can say that the club, is starting their coaching search in earnest. And they will be working diligently to bring in someone else who can continue what, Coach Quill and the rest of this coaching staff did during this season. So I don't know. It just hold on to your hats. It may take some time. But hopefully we get some news.
We'll be getting player news soon.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
That we will. Do you see any of the current coaching staff possibly being promoted, or do you think the club goes outside again?
So I was gonna bring that up. So I made a list today of possible people that we might see from around the USL League One, and in-house. I had 3 names from the technical staff that's still here, or that was here this year. Luke Sanford, who has been here, I want to say several years. He was here with Troy, I'm almost sure. I don't see him becoming the head coach. I don't know why. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. The 2 names on the staff that I kind of would think might have a chance, Matthew Watson, who came in last year. He was a second assistant and part of the academy staff. Really gregarious, really knowledgeable guy. Saw him interact with a lot of the guys during the season and liked that. And then I think possibly the most likely one of the ones that are on staff is David Estrada, academy head coach last year, former player. Obviously, coaching's in his blood. I don't know. It's a possibility. I personally think they go outside, but I think Watson and Estrada are 2 possible names to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
for sure.
David's one. He's certainly been around. He knows the youth program. He knows the academy. He certainly believes strongly in the academy system and seeing what our guys can do, because he talks them up to us all the time. He really does. And if you're gonna look internally, I think he's a guy you look at. I think he is. Seen Lucian Starzinski name popped up in the chat. Luke Sanford, been with the club since 2022. Starzinski, is he still with the club? He might. I'm not sure if he is or not. But
he's the academy scout.
Yeah, he was with the academy, so I don't know if he would have the coaching license either. Maybe Brucey becomes player coach. Who knows? But I do agree. I do think the club goes outside of the current structure, outside of the current staff. As much as I would like to see some of these guys get their chance, I think David he's happy with the academy.
Yeah.
I think he is. I don't think he wants to leave that. Now, give him the chance. Who knows? And no, Justin, I don't think Brucey has his A. I know he has his C. But I don't think he has his A yet. I know those are things that he's been working on. And there are some names out there, Mark Briggs, Alan Marcina, Rick Shantz.
I wasn't going to bring his name up, but okay.
No, it's a name that's out there. He was, to his credit, he was successful at Phoenix, even with all of the issues that they've had there and the issues that he had. Now, I don't think we would ever bring him in, but there are some names out there. And Mark Briggs, a really good coach. He did a great job in Orange County or Sacramento. Sorry.
I had Briggs and Marcina, of course. The pattern of hiring somebody from USL League One that has been successful. Looking at Union Omaha's head coach Dominic Salcedo. They've won the title 2 years in a row. He's been the coach those 2 years. That's a possibility.
Tata would never. Now, don't get me wrong. He'd probably outcoach every other coach that there is in the USL. But
right. The Northern Colorado, who's no longer going to exist, Iman Zayed, I believe is how you pronounce his name.
They're going to exist. They're just not going to play in USL Championship.
Yeah, that's true. So he might be available. He might not. I don't know. Memphis obviously isn't coming back. So Stephen Glass will be available. My personal wish list, all those would be okay. I think Dominic Salcedo from Union Omaha would be like second on my list. But 2019, there was a club called Reno 1868. They had a gentleman named Ian Russell as their head coach. He became San Jose's interim head coach to end last year, which they just replaced him with Bruce Arena. He is a name that I would love to see come down here and lead us. He doesn't have a title, I know, but he's got MLS coaching experience. He's got USL championship coaching experience. He led Reno 1868 to the playoffs all 4 years that he was there. He had he coached Rivas when Rivas was there, and in his matches there, he managed 116 games, won 64 of them, lost 25 of them, drew 27 of them. Had a plus 97 goal differential in those 116 games. And so he won over 50% of his games, which I think is a pretty big deal. I personally would love to see that. Don't know if he's an option. Don't know if he's going to be on their list, but of the list that I came up with, he was at the top of my list.
Yeah, I heard Jermaine Jones is available.
Yeah, no thanks.
Gonzalo
I want nothing to do with that Central Valley Fuego fire over there.
Gonzalo Pineda, as far as I know, he's out of work currently. Former Seattle Sounders assistant, someone that David Estrada knows well.
Yeah.
Former Atlanta United head coach. I mean, obviously that didn't work out there, but Atlanta had other issues. Maybe that's a shout too. Maybe there is someone like a Pineda who is looking to restart a managerial career. So I don't know. I mean, there's certainly names out there. There are some coaches I think would be interesting to see. This is going to be an off season of change for United. We already expected a roster turnover. Probably going to see some more now. And now we're in the market for a head coach. So
yeah, it's rough, but I think there's light at the end of the tunnel, guys. I think there's a chance to get as good or better of a coach than Quill. And I think whoever we bring in, I think they're going to love it here, because every coach that we've had so far has loved it here. That doesn't mean they haven't moved on to different things, let's be honest. Troy and Zach both, their time had kind of come. Like, yes, technically they moved on. They weren't fired or anything like that, but I mean, how many times did we have people complaining about both of them
Mm-hmm.
all the time? And so this is the first one that I've really seen that he's used us as a stepping stone, and I don't think that was his goal taking this job.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if it was anybody else, maybe LAFC or Galaxy or something like that, but he wasn't going to leave for another USL Championship squad, and he wasn't. I don't think he was going to leave for a lower tier MLS squad, except for the fact that he played there and coached North Texas and is kind of from there. And so I wish him all the best. I will be watching FC Dallas a lot more this year. And I know my buddy Christian with the fuck MLS comment earlier isn't going to like to hear that, but like I'm not an MLS hater. I'm a Don Garber hater, but not an MLS hater. I like the players and the teams and the coaches, especially FC Dallas new head coach. So I'll be still paying attention, and I think we'll find a new head coach, and he'll be able to come in, bring some new players, tweak it, and make it work. I don't think we're going to fall off the face of the earth just because Quill left. I love Quill, and he was doing a hell of a job, but I don't think he was the only reason why this club succeeded this year. And so,
yeah, Justin, we'll have to check the stats on that. The Wikipedia is not 100% updated. We'll double check that.
Yes, Prince technically had a better points per game than Troy, but it wasn't by much.
Yeah,
and neither of them were like super duper impressive. So,
yeah, and you know what? I guess the silver lining to all this is that in 6 years, we have had 2 coaches do well enough to get promoted to MLS.
You know, so Troy moved kind of laterally to me because he became an assistant, but then eventually he did get a job as a head coach, and then got another job as a head coach. So yes, yeah, it's and then Prince is underneath him. Cody Mizell's underneath him as a coach. Like, yeah, we definitely, we definitely have been a springboard for coaches at least to move up, and so that is exciting.
Yep, that is true. So
even if it is sad,
yeah. Well, we said we were gonna keep this short. We're coming up on a half hour. Yeah, tough day, United Nation. But we move forward. You know, we have faith in Itamar, we have faith in Peter, and the rest of the front office to bring in another quality coach. And you know, silly season. This is in fact silly season. So we will see what happens over the next couple months. Oh, there we go, Matt over in the chat. We were discussing that earlier. Yeah, we were discussing that earlier. We had 3 names that we came up with that we think potentially could follow Quill to FC Dallas. Nanano Sue, Talon Naples, and Zico Bailey. Those are the 3 that we thought of initially, but we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, a big off season. And Matt and Raising Acre, congratulations to you guys. We will be watching on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Good Lord. Did you see the tweet that I saw someone put out a tweet saying, oh, CBS did it at 10 a.m. local in order to avoid college football. I'm like, you're not avoiding anything. You're avoiding the marquee matchup. Yes, but you're not avoiding college football on Saturday morning. So, but yeah, I mean, you got any closing thoughts?
No, I think that's it. I think we'll have a signing in a couple weeks, maybe. You'll see some player movement here pretty soon. And we'll build a team and move on and get a new coach and try to build on the successes that we had this year, even if it is a different coach. And I think we will. I think we can. So keep your head up. The sky's not falling just because coach leaves. We've now gone through 3 coaches and we keep getting better. So let's look for that trend to continue. And other than that, I got nothing else.
Yep, I'm good.
Cool. Matt or whoever is running the Raise an Anchor YouTube, thanks for popping in. Justin, Josh, Christian, Jane. I think that was it. Yeah, thank you guys. Of course, hate to have to come and do an emergency pod under those circumstances, but it is what it is. You guys get to see our face a little bit more, and I'm sure you love that. So we'll be back next week. Keep an eye out this week and early next week for some roster moves, and we'll see what happens. We'll break it all down next week, and we'll break down the USL Cup on Tuesday. So until then, unless something crazy happens again, somos Leos, we love you.